This, this is good right here. I like to move around, so I feel like I'm a little trapped. So just don't mind that. I'm Greg Stanback, the founder of Results Led Life. I'm an educator by trade. I'm a retired women's basketball coach. I coach right down the street at Florida Memorial University. Won multiple championships there, and then I felt the call to retire. It's a funny story to go along with that. Um, the season prior to retirement, I thought I was going to retire then. But I really wasn't feeling it, so I had to talk with God. I talked to God a lot. If that's all right with you, I talked to God a lot. And I felt the calling to come back 1 year. So I made a deal with God. Sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for. I said, God, if we win the championship and if things go the way they're supposed to go, I know you're telling me to retire. Well, let me tell you, that season, because the seasons prior to that, we were knocking on the door. We went to the semifinals twice, lost. But in that season, not only did we win the conference championship, we won the season championship for the best record. I had the player of the year, and I also won coach of the year. So when I tell you when God answers, he answers more than what you can expect. And from there, I made the decision it was time for me to retire. And then once I retired, it was like, well, what are you going to do next? Because I'm still a teacher by trade. I teach high school students like yourself every day, but I felt there was something else I needed to do. There was a calling. And I had to figure out through that. And it led me to transitioning from coaching kids to now working and coaching adults. So I'm a little bit opposite of coach, where I was mainly with kids. Now I'm going to adults, but I still talk to youth because that's what I was called. I was called to serve children, serve the youth, and that's where I'm at. So let me say this first. When I go to coach, people always ask me, are you going to win the game? Are you going to lose the game? I said, I don't know. I can't control that. They got to play. They got to make the baskets. They got to make the layups. They got to listen. They got to do all that. And then they always ask me, well, do you get nervous before you go and coach? There's never been one game that I didn't get nervous. I've always got nervous. I'm nervous right now. I have a call sheet. When I coach, I had a call sheet with all my plays. This is my call sheet right here. Because what happens in my brain, I go through a lot of things in my brain because I don't want to miss things. And then I end up missing things. And now I leave and I feel like, geez, I should have said that. So I don't want you to miss anything. So I'm going to use my call sheet. I'm going to talk with you about some things that I think is really important. How many of you have gone through something, a trial, a tribulation, something that was very hard? Hold on, everybody's hand should be up. Everybody's hand should be up. We always go through things. Didn't y'all just go through 16 weeks? That wasn't a trial and a tribulation. That wasn't something, right? So what I want to talk to you about is you got to go through to get through. If you don't go through things, you'll never get to where you need to be. But more importantly, once you get there, what is the story you're going to tell? What is the story you're going to have to share with someone else that you got through what you got through? Because I truly believe God has us go through things so that we can have a story to tell someone else. And I'm going to share with you two things that God, I truly believe, is built me up to share with you. One, death, and I don't mean to bring it down. I use it as an inspiration. And two, anxiety. Those are two things I dealt with in my life. First thing, death. My son, he was 30 years old. He dealt with a substance abuse problem, and he passed away about 6 years ago. He went to Atlanta, go visit some friends, get a phone call. I actually got a phone call from my mom because they couldn't figure out who he was. They called my mom instead of calling me. Got a call from mom, called, find out he passed away. Still to this day, don't know what happened. Couldn't figure it out. And at that time, that was a trial. That was something I had to go through. And I'm not telling you that to feel sorry. I'm telling you that as inspiration. Because I'm here today to use that story to help you understand that no matter what you're going through, kids, no matter way life may seem, or your parents are on your case, your teacher are on your case, your friends are on your case, social media is on your case, it is not the end. It is not where you're supposed to be when you go through that. You're just being built to tell your story. And I'm going to have an exercise. You know how you guys had to write your goals? That little thing, that little device that exercises your thumb so much, I want you to use that today. I want you to take it out. Take out your phones. It's easy. I'm giving you permission. I know in class they don't want you taking out your phones. I want you to take out your phones. And I want you to take notes. I want you to put in if you have a question. I also want you to use an exercise because I want you right now, this moment, I want you to start writing your story. I want you to define who you want to be. After 16 weeks, you got a lot of information, a lot of tools, a lot of necessary things that you can define who you are. Your parents ain't going to define it for you, your friends. You decide who you want to be. The first point that I want you to understand is your trial, the things you go through, is what's going to define you. You do not define it. You make the decision that this is how I'm going to be. You know what you go through, what you do through that point, that's what's called the works. When you're going through something, when you're going through a hard time, if you're dealing with something, trying to make a sports team, dealing with an emotional problem, or dealing with a relationship problem, or something with your parents, or just you may be like me, you may have anxiety, you may have a death. When you're going through those things, that's what's building your character. And you got to decide, how do I handle and go through that? And one thing that I use is prayer. See, there's two things. Prayer allows us to connect and have a relationship with God, but it's our works. What we do is what pleases Him. So what do you do in that midst of that fire, that storm that you're going through? What is it that you're doing that's going to help you grow to be a better person so that you can have the story that you can tell? And part of that is I want you to pay attention to your destiny, not necessarily where you're at. Don't pay attention to the distractions. Pay attention to that destiny, to where it's taking you. Because your destiny is going to be the story or the roadmap that's going to be for someone else. That's what's going to help someone else. And that's what we're here for. So, how do you respond to when you deal with failure? What are some ways, because I know you guys talked about failure in your group, how do you respond to it? How do you deal with failure? Well, here are 3 things that I want you to think about. Failure is an event, it's not a person. Just because you fell at something, that does not define you. If you fail a test, that doesn't define you. That doesn't, and I'm an educator, so understand where I'm coming from. I don't mark my students' knowledge based on their pass or fail tests. I base it on the conversations I have with them. Because just because you can memorize and tell me something back doesn't necessarily tell me that you know what I'm talking about. By having a conversation with you, by talking with you, I know that you understand something. So don't let someone tell you that a test, these state tests, define who you are or how smart you can be or what you can do or who you can become. That is not it. Who you become is who you want to be, part of that story that you're going to write. You can go from failure to success, but excuses don't bring success. We can't make excuses. We got to fight through it. You got to make a decision that, will this excuse keep me in this place, or will this excuse take me to the next place? And you got to decide what that place is going to be. Now, there's 3 ways you can respond to failure. The first one, I want you to pause. There's a breathing technique that you can do where you can look at it, breathe into your nose, breathe out to your mouth. I want you to pause. So if you're going through something, a trial, tribulation, I want you to pause. You got to reflect on it. You got to understand where you're at. And one thing that I go through is I deal with anxiety. Believe it or not, people have never thought that. I deal with anxiety, I deal with worry. And through the death of my child is when I recognized what I was going through. Because growing up with a single mother, I grew up poor. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If you're still a fan, that's great. If not, we'll talk about it. My man, my man. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I grew up in what you would call the projects. My mom didn't work. She worked from home doing hair. I started working when I was 14 years old, selling newspapers. Y'all probably don't even know what a newspaper is. All right, selling newspapers. I started working when I was 14 years old. So I had to learn really early on how to work to provide for a family, for my mom, work to get to where I wanted to go to. I was the first person in my household to go to college. I graduated from college, and I'm proud to say, as a caveat, my sister is the second person to go to college. And listen to this, she went to college 6 years ago. She is the first person in my family to have a doctorate. It can be done. So when people tell you it can't be done, it can be done. So I lost train of thought, I'll bring back. So I want you to pause before, oh, I'm sorry, I backed up. There was something else I wanted to say. I want you to pause as the first thing you have to do when you're dealing with failure, going through things. The second thing I want you to do, I want you to pray and reflect. You got to look at, what is this situation that I'm going through and why am I in this situation? As I was talking about dealing with my anxiety, one thing that happened with me through the death and anxiety that I learned, that I dealt with control. And I couldn't understand why I was dealing with control. I wanted to control my environment. I wanted to control my surroundings. That was a form of protection so no one else can hurt me. Because growing up, people are going to hurt you. People are going to let you down. People may not be there for you. But I had to learn and reflect that I had to be there for myself first before someone else can be there for me. And you as a child, believe it or not, you can do that right now. You are the master of your ship. You are the captain of your ship. You're the master of your faith. You are the person that you can be. So I had to learn to reflect and see, why was I in that area? Then I had to make a decision. You have a decision to choose to stay where you're at or move forward to somewhere else. That's a choice. Everybody knows about choices, right? We all have choices. We have a choice to go left. We have a choice to go right. So I had to make a choice. So with my anxiety, I had to make a choice to deal with it. The first thing is I had to stop denying it. If we have a problem, if we're dealing with a situation, the first thing is we can't deny it. I don't want you to deny it. You got to accept it. You got to deal with what it is. That way you can move forward from it. The next part with the anxiety I had to deal with is I had to figure out, how am I going to step away from that and how I'm going to walk through it. As I was going through my trials of anxiety, how am I going to use this to walk through? The worry, the pain of being in control of my environment. The one thing that I had to do is not walk through it. I had to trust. And let me tell you something. Isn't it hard to trust people? Is it hard to trust people, youngest? Because you got to look everybody sideways, and then you don't know what they're going to say about on social media, your phone, and everything. It's hard to trust people. And for me, it's hard to trust people. But you know why it was hard for me to trust people? I didn't trust myself. So for me to trust somebody else, I had to trust in myself and my ability. And because of my worry and my anxiety, I didn't trust myself because I put things in my head that wasn't there. I put things in my head that just wasn't going to happen. And you may be going through that right now. You may be thinking the worst is going to happen. And guess what? Half the time it never happens. It's never happens. So you heard of that expression, is a cup half full or half empty? I had to start looking at the good. The bad will be there, but what is the good? And I got to start living in that space of the good. And that's what I want you guys to do, especially at your age. I deal with so many students right now, and just generally talking with students your age, they're going through a lot. You guys are going through a lot. It's not easy for you right now in this society. And unfortunately, that thing that I have you write notes and take notes on that phone, it is a good thing, but it's a really bad thing. because it's not allowing you to communicate in a healthy way. It's not allowing you to see things in a way that you need to see it, because all you see things through a screen and a small microcosm of how life really is. And I encourage you, start using your phone for a benefit. There's a lot of apps on that phone that can help you for as mental clarity, that can help you for business, all those things. I want you to start using that. As we talk about, you got to go through something to get through. I now told you how I started working with youth, now working with adults. One thing that I do with my young kids at my school, and I'm proud to say I have one student at FSU right now that just won an award for business. I now teach kids about business. I work with adults about business, starting online business, entrepreneurship. That's where I think in our community, where we've been left behind, that we got to catch up and we got to go. And it's so important that we got to get there. And through that online entrepreneurship and business, I had to learn things myself. And going through those things and teaching other people, I think it's my job to help people understand that you don't have to be stuck in this place. You don't have to live a certain way. You have a choice to do what you want to do. And if any teacher, any parent, friend, social media tell you you can't be something, you cannot live in that space. You decide who you want to be. I get to decide who I want to be. My mom can't do it. You can't do it. I got to make that decision. So there's one thing that I've done, that as I go through life, I write letters to myself. And I brought the original letter that I wrote to myself a couple years ago. And this is what I want you to do. This is your homework assignment. Sorry, yeah, homework. I want you to write a letter to yourself. But you're going to write that letter to yourself a year from now. Don't write it today, write a year from now. I'm going to read mine real quick because I don't want to take up too much of your time. And this is the letter I wrote to myself. And I talked in my own voice, so don't get mad at me if it sounds corny or whatever, but it is what it is. Hey, Greg, what's good, my brother? I just want to let you know how proud of you are right now, because you have accomplished so much in this last year. A year ago, you were going through in so many directions, trying to find your niche, trying to grow your business. You were making X amount of dollars per month, trying to teach, living paycheck to paycheck just from your 9 to 5. You had consumed so much information without action. That's me addressing the anxiety and worry. You were letting overthinking, doubt, inconsistency question your ability to be productive and take carefree action. You were halfway towards your fitness goals. I was a little bit bigger than this. I lost some weight. Okay. You were halfway to your fitness goals, still on your meds. You were attending church, but not being in the church. But Greg, today, by faith in God and His grace, your consistency, hard work, and trust in yourself, you have made over, you have made over $10,000 online every month. You're living debt free. You're making decisions, less worry, less doubt. You're about to move into your dream home, no longer paying debt for someone else. You're more involved in the church. You're living in His glory, not your own. I'm so proud of you, Greg. You continue in your success and stay consistent, humble, learning from others. Keep God first and see you on the next trip around the sun. That's a letter I wrote to myself. Thank you. I want all of you to write a letter to yourself. Do it today. Write a letter to yourself for a year from today. Take that letter, post it somewhere, and I want you to read it every day. Read it every day, because your mind is a powerful thing. What you put in your mind can form you and shape you. And right now, the things you're putting in your mind in your phone, in my opinion, may not be forming or shaping you. So what you put there is what's going to make you grow. And I'm going to leave you with these couple quotes. If I get to my last page. Discipline is free. It costs nothing. It costs nothing to be disciplined. It costs money to do everything else, but discipline is free. So you got to stay disciplined. Yes. Pay attention to your destiny, not your distractions. Don't let the things in the world get you distracted. Keep your eye and focus on where you want to go and who you want to be. Don't practice what you don't want to become. Practice who you want to be. If you don't want to be a certain person, if someone's trying to put you in a box, get yourself out of that box and be the person who you want to be. Because only you can decide who you want to be. The last part is I want you to listen, but listen to that voice that's on the inside. Listen to that voice that's on the inside. And once you listen to that voice, I want you to make a decision. Is that voice telling you to go in the direction you need to go to become the person who you want to be? And you got to decide who you want to be. Use the skills that you learned over the 16 weeks to help you grow and continue. But more importantly, and I want you to really understand this, I want you to be able to find something that you went through that you can share your story, that you can be an inspiration to someone else. You may think I'm too young, I don't know this or whatever. You're never too young to be an inspiration to someone else. There could be a classmate, a friend, the same age as you that's going through something that you went through that you can help them with. There may be someone a year or two from now that you will never know. This talk can be an inspiration for someone down the line. But I want you to start writing your story. You define who you want to be. Take all the tools that you learn, be who you want to be, and hopefully one day, someday, I'll say, I remember that person. I spoke to them, and you are now running the country and doing the things that you want to do. I thank you for your time and having me here. I hope it was an inspiration. I hope you learned just one thing. If not, hit me up. I'll work on it and teach you something else. All right. Thank you again for having me.